I'll do it. I'll stand. Heavenly Father, I want to thank you for this day of life. This beautiful weather you're giving us this time of year, Father. I look forward to the new seasons. And help us to be encouraged and to go about our work and do all we can for our people. I pray, Father, that you be with our leaders, both at the federal level and at the tribal level. Give us wisdom and so that we might lead this tribe and do good work for the people. Father, pray for those in hospitals and nursing homes, those less fortunate, those in need, and a special prayer for those standing in harm's way this morning, doing the duty for the nation they love. Go with us now through this service, through this meeting. Be with the chair in each individual council person. Help us make good decisions and forgive us where we fail. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Amen.
Next we have roll call.
Julia Coates.
Here.
Don Garvin.
Aye.
Bill England.
Here.
Bill John Baker.
Here.
Jack Baker.
Here.
Harley Buzzard.
Here.
Bradley Cobb.
Aye.
Joe Crittenden.
Here.
Jody Fishinghawk.
Here.
Meredith Fraley.
Here.
Janelle Fulbright.
Here.
Chuck Hoskin Jr.
Here.
Tina Glory Jordan.
Present.
Curtis Snell.
Here.
Chris Tuck.
Present.
David Thornton. Kara Callan Watts.
Honey.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Next we have the approval of the minutes from the February 12th.
Move for approval. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And we will now hear reports, first of all from Career Services and Diane Kelly. I think we have the reports here, so, right, and predominantly if people have questions that they...
Good afternoon. You've got the report there. I'll just kind of give you an update on the job report. We were in Dallas last week for our contract negotiations for a 5-year cycle, and we did our verbal presentation, oral presentation, and then we have to go back down, I think after the 20th of this month, and we'll negotiate the contract. And our blueprint reading class is getting underway. Our medical coding is going full speed ahead, and we have had our security training, and we're getting ready to do some apprenticeship plumbing and electrical. And we're using the Northeast area campus in Kansas for the training program. Do y'all have any questions? Mr. Soul?
I was just going to say, just to voice appreciation for your efforts to work with the industrial park there. This week I saw some communications from Mr. Berger. He was sitting around and was really appreciative of the goodwill and good community relations that the nation had during their last job or career fair. And so I think there's another one coming up. I don't know if you've been made aware of that. But it was good to see the acknowledgement that the nation was involved in that area with helping notify people and letting the people in other counties know that there's some job openings up in that area. Appreciate that.
Mr. Berger speaks very highly of you, Mr. Soul. As well as Miss Fraley, was she? Are there any other questions? No. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have the director's report from Dr. Neil Morton.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. You have our reports. If there are questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them. But before we do that, I'd like to introduce 2 new persons who are working in education services. First, we have Jan Grogan, who's the new director of higher education. Jan comes to us from Northeastern State University. She has an extensive background and also service record in student personnel services, including nursing for scholarships. Here we expect her to utilize our scholarships and search for more too. So we're very happy that she is joining us in the higher ed office. The next one is Relita Sugar, who comes to us from the area across the hall where they make all the maps. So many times You have asked for information, and we have not had it. We won't have an excuse anymore, so we now have a data person. Data and planning. We look forward to working with Verlita and having current data available, so you make some historical comparison. So, again, if you have questions, if you have today.
Are there any questions?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Verna Thompson from Head Start.
Good afternoon. Are there any questions on my written report? I'd like to report that we still don't know when our review is going to be in April. Maybe next month it will have happened, hopefully. Any questions?
Okay. If not,
Thank you.
Next from JOM, we have Dr. Shelley Butler Allen.
OCO.
Also,
Good to see everyone. You have my written report, and are there any questions at this time? I would like to make an announcement. Everyone mark your calendars for March the 27th, which is a Thursday, 10 a.m. We will begin the Cherokee Cultural Competition Awards Banquet at Tulsa Southern Hills Marriott. So it's a big deal. We have well over 600 to 700 people in attendance, ranging from all of our participants in our cultural competitions to the parents and the sponsors and school administrators, and hope to have many of you there too.
What time?
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock.
Yes. And I have it in big bold letters in the report. Be sure to be there. So that's what we have going for this next week or so. And we had a wonderful, successful Oklahoma JOM conference, and thank everyone for their participation in attending our awards banquet there. So thank you all.
Okay, thank you. Next from Sequoia High School, do we have anyone here? Okay. The director's report, is Dr. Sly here or her representative? Okay. Okay, thank you. Then moving on to old business, we have proposed amendments to the school MVT apportionment boundaries. Councilors Bill John Baker and Buzzard.
Dr. Martin, did you run a report trying to figure out if we expended the quarter of a mile, or how far did you need, Harlan?
I probably have more information than you.
Okay.
I think the top map will explain the different suggestions that you had for discussion last month concerning extending the boundaries. The caption at the bottom of the page will show what that would do. Of course, what this map shows is that Turkey Ford, Harley, the one that was in question, touches the Cherokee Nation at one spot, but is not included within the jurisdictional boundaries. That 3-mile line that was mentioned goes right through their playground. So that would put at least a portion of the school. The 3-mile line did not go through the playground. The first time it was reviewed, it did. It doesn't now. So that one is actually outside a 3-mile boundary, if in fact a 3-mile boundary were to be established. See that line that cuts across for the Northeast tribes? Puts Turkey Ford clearly out. We ran other maps for those of you that have, for your districts, or clear enough as we could for your districts, showing you which schools would be picked up if we in fact did extend that boundary 3 miles. It would water down the pot a little bit because of the Tulsa schools that would be picked up with the 3-mile boundary. There are 2 schools on the map that we have not been included. They were not on the original list that was provided to us. And that would be Wyandotte in Ottawa County and Whitefield just south of Muskogee, which would actually be within the legal boundaries now for allocation. Did I miss anything? And of course, those on the right-hand side are out of state, so we did not consider those to be new ones, but just to show you that there are some heavy clusters of schools just outside the Cherokee Nation and may in fact have Cherokee schools.
Mr. Bussey?
Yes, Dr. Morgan, without counting these, when I've looked, how many schools are we talking about if we go to the 3-mile boundary?
How many on 3 Mile, Renita? Yeah, let's do that. This is a copy of the schools, including those that would be included in all of the boundaries.
This is just schools that would be added
Yeah.
even at 2 miles.
Yeah,
Because I noticed
the 2 Mile would just be the status. In other words, the ones that would be added would be the ones that would be
well, I just noticed on the 2 mile.
the 3 Mile or the 2.5 Mile.
Oh, never mind. Here it is right here. My fault.
Yeah.
Senator Watson, thank you. This would mean less money for the students in the 14 counties, correct?
Yes, it would water the top down considerably if we include all of the schools in the 3 Mile boundary. Especially when we get into Tulsa County.
Really good for my district.
Yeah, it's a good motion.
Also, he's going to pull Tulsa series.
Are there any questions at this time? Mr. Thornton?
Dr. Morton, were there no schools added there in Sequoia? We didn't go over into Arkansas?
No.
They cut it off at the state line.
No, there wouldn't be any added in.
Dr. Morton, why did we have to extend it out 2 miles to start with?
You know, I don't know. That was before my time. Nita's our resident historian.
Could you repeat that question?
Why did we extend it 2 miles outside the historical boundaries of the Cherokee Nation to start with?
2 miles.
Yeah.
It's already extended.
Right now, it's extended 2 miles.
Right.
And I'm just curious as to why we did that to start with.
I think the main reason, because a lot of those kids were inside the boundary, but their school was sitting outside. That's the way it is in Muskogee. So you had Cherokee kids going to school outside the Cherokee Nation. That's the reason, main reason.
Well, I mean, see, I don't even know if you could use your community assistance outside the 14 to help this school. But I'd move that we just go back to the lines of the Cherokee Nation.
Second with the friendly amendment, that it is, they have to have a portion of their school district in the Cherokee Nation. Not a 2-mile buffer, but as long as a portion's in the Cherokee Nation, then they would be included even if they built a school.
I would accept that.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
I want just
Mr.
some
Buzzer?
clarification. Now, what we're saying is they own land within the 14 nation.
If part of their
They
school
just own
district
land.
comes,
Okay.
if part of their school district comes into the 14, they'll still be considered.
Okay, that's right.
Mr. Soap?
Yeah, well, what I would like to know is, are some of these schools double dipping? Because, I mean, if say, a school system down here lies in an area that maybe the Creek support, and I don't know what their situation is on how they support their schools, but are they getting funds from both nations, the Cherokee Nation and the Creek Nation?
As far as the every school blanket money, Cherokee Nation's the only one.
But
Now,
do get money from
they may
other
get
nations,
some money
or
for
just what I'm
special
asking?
projects or something like that, but
So the Creeks don't support the
No.
school systems in any
not,
way?
not to the extent that we do, no. And
Mr. Hoskins?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. At this time, we have a 2-mile buffer, and the criteria is the school district has to be within, or is it the school building itself, or how does that actually work right now before we make this change?
the school building.
Is there any need for an analysis of how it'll change if we go? I mean, I'm supportive of the idea of a district. I just wonder if some of these outlying, I don't know what the size of some of these outlying school districts are. Do we need to take some time to get an analysis of that? Or based on your knowledge of the school districts and the data, can you give us an opinion about how some of these border schools, whether their districts might encroach into the Cherokee Nation?
Not over 3 or 4.
Mr. Cobb?
I'm going to echo Councilor Hoskin on possibly looking at this because simply because I'm not sure with the language, the friendly amendment put in this. I have a school that lies literally 200 yards into Osage County from Bartlesville, and I would venture to say that 80% of those kids live in Bartlesville, Oklahoma, within the Cherokee Nation, maybe more than that. But they go to a school that's 300 yards into Osage County, and I don't know, language-wise, if we're saying they're a school district. I don't know school districts.
Clarify the motion. So if part of the school district is in the Cherokee Nation,
But that's my point.
then it's included.
That's my point. I don't know if the school district is, but I know those kids go to school there. I don't know.
But it would be, they're in the school.
Well, okay. Is that what you're saying? I mean, if you're saying, if you went to the city of Bartlesville, wait a minute. If you went to the city of Bartlesville and you said, show me your school districts, and that district went to the Osage County line, and I said, show me, because we got open transfers all over the place in Bartlesville. That's my point. So I'm gonna hammer that home. That's my point. And we got people transferring to Osage Hills simply because of the teachers. So if I went to Osage Hills, I said, show me your school district, and it went to Osage County and stopped, and I vote yes because I think their school district encompasses those students, then I basically just knocked them out of. That's my problem here. I don't know what school district implies with open transfers going on. So that's the problem I'm having. So thank you.
Okay. Councilman Thornton?
What I guess it actually bothers me on this is we're paying for children that also live outside the Cherokee Nation. I mean, in Muskogee, there's probably a lot of Cherokees outside the Cherokee Nation, and we're paying for this with our car tag money. And those people are not contributing to this program, to the car tag funding. So, you know, it's a catch one, catch all. And as far as I'm concerned, just the way that they said this, if that school district falls in the Cherokee Nation, well, I'd be for it. You know, I don't have any problem there. But I want you to realize that these schools are benefiting from children that live outside of the nation too. You know, and when you go and, well, you pick up another 2-mile buffer zone or 3 miles, well, then you're picking up more students. We've got people in Van Buren, Fort Smith, Fayetteville, there's a lot of Cherokees over there. But we're cutting them completely off the state line, just because it's the state line. And I don't think that's fair, because when you put a bumper zone in, you're putting a bumper zone in. You should put it all the way around the nation. But that's the way I feel about it. Because those people they're not contributing to the car tag money, and neither are those people that live in Oklahoma that live outside that are receiving funding from it. But I'll go for this deal that y'all come about as long as the school district falls inside the nation. And I don't think Muskogee has any problem there. But, you know, you need to think about that. These people aren't contributing. I mean, you're taking this out of your car tag funding from people that live inside the nation.
Councilor Jordan?
Well, my question was, and some of them have already alluded to it, but I guess I want to be more specific. How many of them are we going to cut off, and how many of them are we going to add? I mean, I can see where some districts, these little dots over here that fall outside the 3-mile zone, may actually have a portion of their district inside the 14 counties, where these little dots that we're paying now that fall within the 2 miles, they may not fall, their district may not fall within the actual boundaries of Cherokee Nation. So I would like to be informed of what difference it does make. I mean, is a lot of them going to lose funding? Some going to gain funding? And if they're losing funding and it doesn't make a difference to Cherokee County, but it should make a difference to all the bordering counties, don't you want to know if your school's in or out? If you've already been giving them money, they're going to come back next year and the well's going to be dry for them. Wouldn't you want to know for certain which schools are in and which schools are out based on the motion that's being considered now? And I just throw that out to you for thought. I know Dr. Morton can't answer that today, but I would think, didn't you say Ms. Sugar just came on board with you?
We can have it for next month or in.
And this is one of the things that she'll be doing, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We can plat the school districts for each of the border schools and superimpose that over the Cherokee Nation jurisdiction.
Based on the fact that he could get this to us next month, won't we, I'll put it in form of a motion, let's table this item until next month.
Second.
Get a little more information.
We have a table and a second. Is there discussion? No discussion on the table? Okay, so we just go ahead and vote on it at this point. Okay.
Since we're, excuse me.
I'm not sure. We just vote, right, at this point? Yeah, I'm sorry. So, okay, there's a motion to table. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion is tabled then.
For next month.
Till next month. Item 2 on old business, we have an amendment to Cherokee Nation school entities regarding the car tag allocations. Councilors Jordan and Bill John Baker.
You want me to go ahead and
Yes,
talk back?
we do.
And Todd, we're going to need to get some information from you.
Okay.
This is, now we're on the second one, right? The amendment? Okay. Last month we brought up amending the apportionment of funds so the Head Start and the immersion program would be treated the same as Sequoia School. And from the information that we've been given, Sequoia School and Head Start are already in the prior resolutions, right?
I would defer to Mr. Morton, I believe so.
Okay.
Immersion and Head Start. Are they, do they get a share right now?
They get a share, but not the double share.
Okay, does it take, do we need to, the last amendment I have is 3402, in which it looks like both Sequoia High School and the Head Start were already in there for a portion, and probably all we need to do at this point is add the immersion program, which I think consists of 19 kids, 19 students, to make it complete, and then you can you give them two shares for each student, just like Sequoia School.
Right.
And we were thinking that only the immersion program needed to be added with paperwork on to full council to accomplish that, and that's my question to you. Is that what we need to do?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So you think Head Start is covered, already done?
I put Head Start in there.
Okay.
Okay. In the underlying portions that would be in your book here.
But aren't they already in there under this 3402 Act? That was an amendment to the original.
I'll have to look at the 3402 Act.
And it appears that all you need to do is add immersion, but I will defer to you on what's best on that.
While he's looking, can I ask a question?
I'm sorry, yes.
Dr. Morton?
Yes.
Did the Head Start get a check?
But they got a check.
The Cherokee worth any more.
They received a check, just one share check, not a double check.
So we need to put both of them in?
Okay, yeah.
Both Head Start and,
Yeah, and that, of course, that's a moving number, but had it been in this year, it would have cost you about $54,000.
and my co-counselor here is concerned, but he thinks it'll be less for Adair County. While it might be less for an older student, they have plenty of Head Start programs to compensate, so the money's coming right back to you in different form. So I guess what we're trying to do is complete what we started last month.
Correct. My understanding was that there was a motion and agreement in principle to add the immersion program and Head Start for a double share to be treated the same as Sequoia High School based on the same principles that they do not get state money directly, just like Sequoia High School. The amendment I drew up would make the immersion and Sequoia and the Head Start get a double share to treat just
So
the same.
what we've voted on last time and voted through can be fully accomplished if we pass your amendment today.
That is correct.
Okay. I guess that's the long story to get to that end part.
Are there other questions? Is there a motion?
Move to approve with that amendment.
Do I hear a second? Second. It's a motion and a second to move or to approve this amendment with the amendment.
I have a clarification.
Well, I was going to explain the amendment. I was told of three amendments that were discussed on the last month. Also in this is increasing the buffer zone. You just tabled that, so I would redact that part of the legislation. So it only would include the immersion program and the Head Start program, and we'll take out the language about the buffer zone.
Okay, so there's a motion and a second. No discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that passes. Next, we move on to
Just a point of clarification, just make sure I understand the process. Now it goes full council.
That is correct.
Okay. Because I, for some reason, thought we just wrote all this up and it went to full council last month. I didn't know it had to come back again.
Well, it's my understanding that last month it wasn't on the agenda. I wasn't present at the last month's meeting, and I apologize, but I was told that you all had agreed in principle and made these motions. In order for it to have gone directly to full council last month, you would need to have amended the agenda for that specific act, and then I could have wrote it up in between time, but that didn't occur. So procedurally, we're all correct now.
Okay, just want to make sure I understand the process.
Next, we move on to new business, and we have additional funding requests for the Cherokee Nation Nursing Scholarship Program. Counselor Callan Watts.
With respect for the committee's time, I withdraw that at this time. Thank you.
Okay. No further new business. We move to announcements. I'm sorry, Mr. President.
If I could, I'd like to ask one question of Dr. Morton, or make a comment. I don't know if it's a question. I missed it when Dr. Doria Sly's report was up. Just got back from a trip in D.C. and actually went to some of the museums up there and saw what they have stored and what they do on display. And I'm wondering what we're doing here at the Cherokee Nation as far as our history goes. And what I'm talking about is when we build new buildings, take old buildings down, are we getting objects from those buildings like the old bingo halls? They're gone now. And that was part of our history, 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago. Are we collecting any of those things up and putting them in the storages? And what brought this to a head is what I saw up there. And I was thinking about our casino. I was thinking in Delaware County, we have West Island Springs now that's going to be tore down here in 6 or 8 months. Are we planning to pull any of those things out of there and put them in storage? And hopefully someday the Cherokee Nation can have a museum like we see when we go to D.C. Not only there, but in the complex. When we make changes here, are we saving any history? And I don't know that you can answer that, but that's just something I want to say because it really put a thought in my mind when I walked through those museums there in D.C. and saw all the things that were stored there. And I'm wondering, are we doing that here at the Nation? Not only that, I'm talking about Head Start centers. 50, 100 years down the road, they're going to say, well, they had a Head Start center in Delaney or some of our child care centers. Those things are important of history, and I'm just wondering if we're capturing any of that stuff right now. And I don't know that we are. I'm just throwing this out for a suggestion for your department or whoever department that needs to go to start thinking about those things.
As far as the individual works of art, objects of art, of course, some of those belong to C&E, and some belong to Cherokee Nation. Mm-hmm. And of course, we have the Cherokee Heritage Center for placing those items. But let's speak to the history aspect. That is something that concerns me a great deal because when we teach Cherokee history in the public schools, for those few schools who do in fact teach Cherokee history, it stops with Trail of Tears.
Exactly right. It's in our open
if you, as an education committee, were to decide to, let's go back and look at some records of the first education committee, the first elected education committee, and let's see what they did. You would not be able to find that information, which is a great gap in the affairs of the government of the nation. I was fortunate enough to work in the Keeler administration, and I know some old history, but from the times of that first appointed council and then the next elected council up until now, there has as far as committee records and so forth, sure those are on file for probably the last few years. Yeah. But those early years, no. Okay, well, so it is a point that definitely, in my opinion, should be addressed.
Okay, well, I just want to bring that before this committee and you and some of the people that I'd like to see someone somewhere to do that. And I understand probably storage is a problem right now, but those are some things that we need to look at, maybe trying to fund some storage places for our important documents. And not only just documents,
But some actual records.
yeah, exactly right. So,
And the fact that at one time there was an Owen school, and at one time there
exactly,
was
and that's what
a
we're
Ross
doing.
school.
And a lot of time, it's just a rock out of that corner of that old building that was built WPA in 1938. Those are historical things, and they're going to be gone here in the next few years.
Some of the new efforts under the Cultural Tourism Initiative will address some of those sites. But as far as the actual objects, not necessarily so.
Okay.
So you raised an excellent point.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Mr. Hembry, you have a comment?
Being a history buff myself, I would just want to echo the comments of Dr. Morton here. As most stories that the outside world would read about the Cherokee Nation, starts with removal and ends with the Trail of Tears. And soon after that, we had what is commonly known as the golden age of Cherokee Nation history, where we had a great working society, a very democratic government, functional schools, great communities. That part's often left off. And if a curriculum could be developed in that type of history brought forth, I think it'd be very beneficial to not only the Cherokee people but the outside community as a whole. And also with what Dr. Morton touched upon about even the modern day Cherokee history, about the beginnings of the government under W.W. Keeler. If we would get and collect and write about that early modern history, which is almost oxymoron, but I think it'd go a long way to educating the Cherokee people of today, because often you have, I would say, naysayers who say, this is not a functional government, this is not real, this, we're a mere, collection or group. I think if we went with a very good detail of documenting that and bringing it forth to the people, that would also debunk some of those theories. And I just want to make that point to the committee.
And if I may jump in here, it would also show you what you have done, because I had a different title under the Keeler administration. We were ministers rather than Minister of Education. That sounded sort of European, And I was so elated when we started the first aid program for college students. It was $10,000 loan pool, limited to $100 per student. So you have done quite well.
We have done quite well.
And those are interesting facts. I never knew that about this, what Dr. Martin said. But that's interesting stuff to look at. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, are there any announcements today? Then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
You need to say.